So, man, well, this has been a great show. I want to have you on again. I want to hear more about what what happened in Texas, and more ideas about what we can do, as Christians, how we can get more involved. I'd love to get some.
But Joe, at the same time, what I've tried to say, and I'm with you 100% with what we can do as Christians, but what I've tried to focus on in the public square argument is that this is not a Christian argument that we're making. We're talking about legal issues. We're talking about constitutional issues. We're talking about issues of justice. We're talking about societal issues. We're talking about fiscal issues. I rarely mention religious issues except for the fact that you do have two people making a vow to God, and you do have issues pertaining to religious liberty when the state chooses to intervene and to say your religious convictions mean nothing to us. We're going to divorce you. But in the argument in the public square, we've been trying to say, these are the arguments. You tell me from a constitutional viewpoint, from a legal viewpoint, from a sociological viewpoint, from the best interest of the children, you tell me how any of this stuff, how unilateral divorce fits the purpose of any of these things, and they cannot do it. So they try to put up a distraction to say, well, this isn't really what the issue is about. That's exactly what the issue is about. We're seeing our society plundered, and it's not just Christians that are doing this. The interesting thing, Joe, is back in at the turn of the century, in the 19th century, at the beginning of the 20th century, actually secular psychologists were appalled at the divorce rate because it was like 3 or 4%. It wasn't just the church. The secular people were saying, how can we survive this? And now, who knows where it is right now? I mean, it's much higher than it was back then, and we're all just snoozing as if it means nothing. So this is an argument. Go ahead.
If you're talking to a politician, they kind of give you back whatever you feed them, because they just want to mirror you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk to someone who's really secular, like if you talk to a psychologist or someone who's a secular humanist who really does have a atheistic philosophy, who really believes in the stuff that seems to be permeating throughout our culture right now.
Right.
They're arguing for happiness, and we're arguing for justice. They're arguing for pleasure, and we're arguing for purpose. It's such oil and water, and I don't see that these things you're arguing for that they care about.
I would change it just a little bit and say we are arguing for the reality of happiness and pleasure. They are arguing for the illusion of happiness and pleasure. You talk with these people that have gone through the divorce who are chasing these things, and they often end up unhappy. And people don't talk about that. It's like, the women that have the post-abortion regretting it for the rest of their lives. You have people that 5 years after they have been divorced, they've said we should have tried harder. There is divorce regret out there, and what looks so nice for a while may be that which is the most unfulfilling, unhappiest thing that you've ever done in your life. But it gave you the promise of happiness, but not the fulfillment of happiness. The fulfillment of happiness, like anything, if you're in a sports competition, the thrill of victory is knowing that all of your years of work and struggle and training have paid off and have gotten you this. Why not look at marriage in the same way? There will always be a struggle. And as Ryan Anderson said, any marriage that is more than 1 week old, there is always a reason for divorce. The reason that you need to keep looking for the reasons to keep it together. And there are many, many reasons out there. And quit focusing on the reason, I'm not happy today. I'm just not happy. That's ridiculous. Or my wife didn't do this, or my husband didn't do that. The whole thing is ridiculous. Little things. This woman has fewer stretch marks than my wife. She's a younger model of my wife. This man is more intelligent, makes more money than my husband. And you're going to destroy families.
Culture makes feelings authoritative, but we're supposed to be guided by our feelings. If you get a feeling, you better listen to it, or I don't know what happens.
Right. So
something happens, the universe collapses. I don't know. Black hole swallows something like that.
Yeah. But I think that, we're going to see where it goes. I know that there are legislators in other states that are actually watching Texas. I don't know what's going to happen. We had a little bit of a change in the composition down here as far as the House was concerned, and even the Senate. But, we can still keep waging the fight. And, slavery, how long did it take for slavery to be outlawed? It took a long time. Wilberforce kept going back. Abortion. We've been fighting for the repeal of abortion for almost 50 years, 40-some years. It's been decreasing. It's not done away with, but it's been decreasing. And Joe, even if we can decrease the number of divorces, and I know, statistically people are saying that divorces are decreasing right now. Well, the other thing is, too, many people aren't getting married. You've got kids born into families that have never been formed because a man or a woman says, I've seen what these family courts do. I'll be damned if I go through that. I don't want to do that. I want to keep my life intact. I've talked with people that have said, I'll never get married because I've seen what divorce does to people, and I don't want to lose everything. And
oh, yeah.
We've
got this whole MGTOW movement. I've got a whole bunch of them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them listen to this show because they've been through this whole divorce. They've sworn off women. They've sworn off relationships.
Yeah.
They've gone through a lot of the issues we talk about.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
But
horrible. Jeff, you are doing some good, godly work, my friend. God's prepared you well, and I thank you for being on the show. Will you come back? Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me. It was, maybe give us a little bit of time here to see what actually takes place. We'll see what happens, or whatever your schedule is, I will be very happy and willing to accommodate it. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to spend some time with you.
Jeff, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe.
God bless.
Thank you.